Hello and welcome. It's time to hear what's on my mind on this episode of Trisha's 2 Cents Podcast. I'm your host, Trisha. On this episode, I have a special guest with me. It's my husband of almost 25 years, Jeff. Welcome, Jeff.
Hey, hello, everybody.
Today, we're going to talk about how a man is affected when he grows up without his father. Last week, our son turned 27 years old. And on his Facebook, Jeff sent him a message saying that he was his guinea pig because he didn't have a father. Jeff didn't have a father. And Jordan, he didn't know how to raise Jordan because he was never taught. And so Jordan was like his guinea pig. He was just playing it by ear. So my question to Jeff is, what was it like growing up without a father? Because, as you know, I was raised with both my mother and my father, so I don't know. So can you explain, how was it growing up without a father?
Well, growing up without a father, you always seem to be looking for acceptance. You're always trying to be sure that you're doing it the right way. So, and sometimes that makes it hard because if you're trying to do it the right way and you've never been showed the right way, then actually, how do you know it's the right way?
Are you talking about when you're raising your kids? Or are you talking about when you were being raised?
Being raised.
You talking about like school or?
School, maybe it's sports, driving a car for the first time, things like that, things that a young man would learn from his father.
Right. So how about when you saw other kids with their fathers? How did that make you feel?
It always made me question what would it be like, to have your father around, that when you made honor roll, you had somebody patting you on the back, or you scored your first touchdown in football, somebody was at the end zone waiting for you. And with that figure absent in your life, it makes it real hard.
Right. Now, because I know a lot of guys, their dads help teach them football and basketball, they'll be there. Did that make you not want to pursue, or, because I know you are good in sports. So how did that affect you?
Well, it affects you a lot because in sports, you always want somebody to encourage you. And if you live with your mom or you live with your aunt, like I did most of my life, or my grandma, I always lived with like a woman with no male figure in the house. Mm-hmm. And you always wanted that male figure because that male figure is the one that usually will push you into sports or, doing better, whatever it may be, even if it's come to something that's, fixing a chain on a bicycle or something like that. That male figure is the one that always encourages you, or you would want that male figure to always encourage you. And when it's not there, then you're lacking.
Now, is that why you think a lot of people get into trouble because of no father figures?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I believe that. One of my pet peeves is when I ride around or whatever, and I see these young boys with their pants sagging. That's almost a guaranteed dead giveaway that their father is not present in their life. And if their father is present in their life, he's really not taking that active role in their lives.
Right. Okay. But I know your grandfather was there, but I know he, of course, was older because he's your grandfather. How did he help mold you?
Well, he helped me, he just kept me on the right path. At least I had some discipline in the house because I probably could have kind of ran over my grandma being that they were older. But by him being there, I didn't try to get away with as much as most kids would.
Right. So growing up, you would consider him your father figure.
Oh, yes, most definitely.
Okay. And of course, here we are, you got kids, and now you're a grandfather. So, you not having a father, how has that affected you being a dad, granddad, and of course, having kids of your own?
Uh, I don't think it really affected me that much as far as being a grandfather. Because, the one thing grandfathers do or grandparents do, they just spoil the kids rotten and let them run and fill them up with sugar, and you just enjoy the time that you got with them. You discipline to an extent, but not as much as the parents would. You kind of let them slide because them are your grandbabies. Now, being a father, sometimes, well, I'm not gonna say sometimes. A lot of times, I question myself because no one ever showed it to me. So now I have to show it to my son. So a lot of times, I would question myself: Am I showing him the right way, or am I showing him the wrong way?
So, because you don't have anyone to go to, what do you do?
Well, to me, I just prayed and asked God that if I wasn't doing it the right way, show me that I wasn't doing it the right way. Help me out because I'm on a limb, and by that male presence being missing in my life, the majority of my life, it's just learning on the way, learning, on the road. So
Right. Okay. So, what would you say to other people who do not have a father in their life, or they want um, a father, or they're trying to reach out to their father? Because, what do you say? How do you encourage them if they don't have that male father in their life?
well, if you're a man or a woman and you're reaching out to your father, you can only do so much. You can reach out. And in my experience, I've reached out a couple of times, and there's really hasn't been any, you know, uh, real excitement on his part. So you can only do so much until you say, okay, I'm gonna let this go now. I can pray on it and ask God, to help me out or help him see his faults in this whole thing. But I learned that I can't beat myself up about it because it's not my fault. Everything that happened is not my fault. Him not wanting to be a father, that's not my fault. That's his fault. Yeah. So
Do you hold any kind of hatred towards him, or unforgiveness, or or is that unresolved, or
I,
I don't.
I don't really hold any hatred towards him. I just I just question why sometimes. Sometimes you it's a you know hurricane or tornado or something like that might be bad weather, and I sit there sometimes and I wonder, does he wonder about, is my son okay, because he knows of me. He know I am his son. So I wonder sometimes, do he think like, man, I hope my son is okay.
Right, right. It's like a rejection.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. So going forth, you have resolved in yourself that it's not your fault, and you can't make no one love you. Right.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Okay. So going forth, who do you look to as your father figure right now?
Um, more more your father. He's kind of took up that role, and I kind of lean to him as a father figure, and also my uncle. When I have a problem, I always call him and get his 2 cents on it.
Wow. Okay. Well, I thank you for your honesty, um, and I hope that your story will help someone else to realize that they can come out on the other side, even if they did not have a father growing up, and even if they still are rejected at almost 50 years old, because he will be 50 on his birthday. But you did make it, right?
Correct.
You made it.
Correct.
Amen. So we thank you for listening to this episode of Trisha's 2 Cents. Join me on the next episode as I give life lessons through my experience, my growth, and always from my heart. Make sure you subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite listening platform.